Right then, let us start. Yesterday, I was discussing the so-called determinants of ethics. Right, I discussed about determinants, and I said what are the determinants: space, time, and individual values. Along with this, dimensions of ethics is also going to be one of the major determinant. Right now, I'll be continuing from that dimensions. I said dimensions is one determinant. In the dimensions, we started discussing about until this point we discussed that is called consequentialism, right? Machiavelli is known as the pioneer who has given an insights about consequentialism. After that, we have seen the subcomponents of this consequentialism. They are the utilitarians, which was propounded by Jeremy Bentham. Jeremy Bentham always said that if an act is going to benefit to the majority of the people, then that act is going to be an ethical act. However, I said Jeremy Bentham's disciple, right, J.S. Mill, John Stuart Mill, he himself said that what his teacher said is wrong because in majority you will not be considering the minority welfare. Hence, it is not just majorities whom we should bother, we should also think about minorities. So that I said, no need to go into that depth in ethics, rather it is related to PSIR. Now, apart from utilitarianism, the advantages of utilitarianism is it is very easy to make the decisions, and all the countries across the globe in their governance or policy making, they follow utilitarian principle. Next one is we discussed about egoism or egoist theory. In egoist theory, more or less, it will be speaking about individual. It is the welfare of the individual which is going to matter the most rather than the welfare of the majority. Hence, they give primacy to the individual. In that, the third concept which I said is Sarvodaya concept, which is a common good approach. What is this Sarvodaya? Sarvodaya means as Ravali has said yesterday, Sarvodaya means it is Udaya of all, which means enlightenment of all. Whoever is a part of this land, they have to be in the development process, or they have to make that end. So some others were also asking me yesterday, along with Kavya, I got some more question yesterday. Sir, you said that Gandhiji belongs to school of non-consequentialism. Then how can Gandhiji's concept of Sarvodaya, Gandhi can be called as Gandhiji's concept of Sarvodaya can be fit in this? What I said is Gandhi gave importance to means as well as he also emphasized on ends. So he said that means are equally important to reach your ends. At the same time, whatever the end that you are going to get, it should not be benefiting only certain sections of community, rather it has to benefit to the majority, not majority but to the all the people in the country. This is the concept of Gandhiji. So Gandhiji gave emphasis not only to means, but he has also said that the ends that you are going to get, that ends has to be reached to each and every sections of the community, and each and every individual should be a part of it. More or less, this concept is like inclusive growth of Gandhiji, Sarvodaya concept, right? This is what I discussed. Now, today I am continuing from this topic that is called non-consequentialism. Now, for non-consequentialists, it is not the consequence which is going to matter. It is the reason with which you are doing an act, right? It is not just the end which is important for them, it is the means which is important for them. In the means, with what rationality you are doing an action, with what intention you are doing an action, that is more important. So for this, the pioneer I said is Immanuel Kant. One has to maximize one's duty irrespective of consequences. Irrespective of your consequences, ensure that you'll be doing your duty. Now, Immanuel Kant. So this is one subheading in non-consequentialism that is called categorical imperative, which was given by Immanuel Kant. Now, what does this categorical imperative say? Categorical imperative says that irrespective of the condition, one has to do his duty, right? It is imperative to do your duty irrespective of the condition or irrespective of the circumstance to which it is leading to, right? Irrespective of the condition, one has to do it, your duty. So this you can use in your terminology, categorical imperative. Now there is previous year question saying that man is end in itself. Human beings should not be used as means, rather they should be considered as end in themselves. What does this mean? You should not use men for achieving your purpose. Rather, men should be given equal role in the end itself. Now, this will be applied to man is an end in itself, which means just you should not use men for reaching your goal. Rather, they have to be used or they have to be considered in the end itself. So this is applicable to the capitalistic world. They use men at a very cheap price, and then the profit is going to be taken by the capitalists. So what they say is, rather than accepting or rather than taking all the profit to yourself, people who were a part of this product, they should be given equal amount. So they say that man is an end in itself. Hope you got this. People asked me, sir, what is the meaning of this? Human beings should not be used as means, but they should be considered as the ends in themselves. Means human beings are not tools for some other purpose, but they are the end in themselves, which clearly means that whenever you are doing an action, you should consider the welfare of the people in your means. Along with that, you should also give importance to people in their ends. Moving on. So first thing is non-consequentialism. They are not bothered about the consequences, rather they are bothered about the way. They are not bothered about the ends, right? Just like I said, Sri Krishna's philosophy that he has said to Arjuna, do your duty, don't bother about the result. So that is what non-consequentialism is. So you call this as deontological approach. Deontological approach, which means duty, duty-based approach, right? This is what deontological, that is called teleological approach. I said it yesterday. Teleological. Based on the end, you will be saying whether an action is correct or not. Deontology, based on your duty, you can say that whether an action is correct or not, right? Now I said this, slavery cannot be justified. Yes, slavery cannot be justified because the means that you are adapting to reach some ends are wrong. That is, slavery cannot be justified. Capitalism was criticized by this means. This is what I said. Capitalism was criticized. So what non-consequentialism says is dharma in Indian tradition. So non-consequentialism, the similarity of non-consequentialism in Indian context is dharma, the principle of dharma. Do your duty. Dharma is duty-based ethics. Do your duty irrespective of the consequences. That is called dharma. This is non-consequentialism is Western concept of dharma. That's it, right? Based on the principle of dharma, and Kautilya famously said that in any circumstance, the king has to uphold dharma, right? So essentially, it is a duty-based approach. There are some quotations that you can use